Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Equal Engineers Virtual Careers Festival. I'd just like to start with a Mexican wave. I know we can't see you, but it is a festival. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Fantastic. Let's get that Friday feeling going. So let's start off with a bit of housekeeping, first of all. So just so you're very aware of what's happening today. First of all, it's your mics, isn't it? Yeah, so obviously your microphones will not be on, and you're not obviously going to be visible either during the event. But this meeting is going to be recorded, and you can receive a copy of the recording after the event. You can get in touch at events@equalengineers.com. Another bit of housekeeping is how you want to view us. So if you want to go between the gallery and the speaker, you can see right there that you can change the way that you view the panel. Troubleshooting, any trouble, don't come to me. You can basically send us an email should you need to, using the events@equalengineers.com, or very simply just go to the chat function where we have specialists waiting to help you out should you lose connection or anything like that. Questions. Now you will have the opportunity to ask any questions to our employers in the afternoon virtual booth sessions that we're running. And you can view the schedule for the afternoon at the link just there. There is an opportunity for Q&A, as I say, this afternoon. So the Q&A tab will be disabled on this particular event today. If you have a burning question, though, please do catch us on the chat function. It's going to be a very busy morning, and we'll do our very, very best to get to everybody. Well then, well, here we go. I do have that Friday feeling. I hope you're feeling good too. This is our virtual session here, and it's all about careers. So I do want to start by introducing you to our sponsors and student ambassador. So first of all, they've done their Mexican waves. Thank you so much for getting involved. But we have got Stella, who's here from Rolls-Royce. And Stella is a campus recruiter. We've also got Hayley, who is off camera at the moment, but I tell you what, she's definitely smiling. And Hayley is from the recruitment team at HMGCC. We also have Andy, and Andy is from BAM Nuttall, and he is the National STEM lead for BAM. And we also have Imogen as well. And Imogen's in Bristol, and she is a student ambassador. So welcome all of you. Thank you so much for being here. So just so we can get to know our panelists a little bit better before we get on in to their presentations and chats, just got a few questions for them. So if I send the questions out to Stella, Hayley, and then Andy, and then Imogen, if you have anything to add after we've heard their answers, then please chip in by all means. So my first question to you all is, what was your journey like from being at school to where you are today?
Hi, good morning, Fayon. How are you today?
Really great. Thank you for asking. Very, very good.
Excellent. Well, I've done a bit of a different journey. So when I left school, I wanted to work with young children. So I did my NNEB, which now doesn't exist, but it was at the time. And I went and worked in a social services day nursery. That day nursery then turned into a family support unit. So I started working with families and parents and doing parenting assessments. And I really enjoyed that interaction. So then I decided to then go and work as an education welfare officer. So I went and worked in schools doing that. And then I thought, actually, I really enjoy that school environment and talking to the young students. So then I decided to apply for a school, and I became vocational coordinator and then did all around careers. So it was a very varied kind of journey. And then I saw the job at Rolls-Royce and I thought, oh, I don't know if I can do that. There's going to be loads of applications. But I thought, Joe, what do I always say to the students? Go for it. You never know. So I applied and I'm here.
What a fantastic journey. And I believe that everything that you've done has brought you to this point. So
Definitely.
absolutely brilliant. What do you think, Imogen?
It's a great journey and an evolution. It's really commendable.
We'll
Just
find
take
out a
every
little bit more.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the one. That is the one. We're going to hear about that as we go along. So, next up, Hayley, please. What's your journey been like from school to where you are today?
Hi, thanks for having me. So, my journey started by doing an apprenticeship, actually, not with my current employer, but somewhere different. And I certainly started it as quite a shy and a nervous person. And by the end of it, I'd become a fully fledged member of that team and really built on my confidence and my knowledge. So I stayed there working in a service desk for 5 years. I then moved on to another service desk at HMGCC, so where I work now. And then I decided I really fancied a change and I wanted to do lots of positive things, and I felt recruitment was the best place to do that. So I moved into the team about 3.5 years ago now, and I've been here ever since, helping other people go through the same process that I went through, and it's really rewarding.
Time just flies by, doesn't it? Or especially when you're really enjoying your role. And it's brilliant that you've seen that, through going through something yourself, what skills you can learn and then obviously open the way for others as well. It's really fantastic. Imogen, anything to add?
I no, I think apprenticeships are such a useful stepping stone in a career, especially when you're young and you don't know quite what your career progression is going to be. I think they're brilliant. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant as well. I totally agree. There's so many ways to get into work, and we are obviously going to hear about that. So, on to you, Andy. Great to have you. Same question.
So I've got a bit of a, I think just before I do so, I think what's really good for young people and anybody to realise is that there's not just one straight route. I used to be a teacher a long time ago. I'm like, if you're a fan of Friends, I'm like Chandler Bing. I've done loads of stuff and nobody knows actually what it is that I do, but I get paid every month, so that's brilliant. So when I first left school, I started out as a joiner, so a carpenter. I used to build houses and I used to have a little building firm. And then in 2008, the recession saw an end to that. And I had a young family at the time, and I was going through some personal circumstances, which meant I needed regular money to pay the rent and put food on the table. So I used my brain and my common sense and looked at what my skills were, and I thought teaching is almost redundancy proof. So I put myself through university at my own expense, night school, while I was working through the day with a young family, and I became a teacher, and I used to teach construction up in Leeds. That's where I'm from. And from there, I kind of did 5 or 6 years doing that. And I got to the point where I'd gone up through the ranks and I was doing quite well, manager in the school and stuff, but I just didn't feel like it was quite for me. And then an opportunity popped up with Bradford Council, and it was to lead on their STEM agenda. And a colleague of mine, Faye Jenkins, who I work with now, she's also a personal friend outside of work. She looked at what it is that we're doing and she said, why don't you come and work at Balnuttall doing this type of stuff? So I led on STEM, I've been leading on STEM stuff, which is science, technology, engineering, and maths for those people who don't know what that means. And here I am today, sat on this panel talking to lovely people. So started out as a tour rag at school and ended up speaking with you guys, which is brilliant.
I just love the fact that you call yourself a toe rag. I'm so sorry, it makes me laugh. After speaking to you, you are a commendable advocate for the work that you do. And it's true, not everybody sort of starts off as, being very academic and, being being able to follow the curriculum as everybody else seems to, and you think, what's going on? Is it me? You're just a different kind of learner. And like you said, you know, you got into some hands-on work, and then, you know, you found your way, and university came afterwards. So absolutely love that. Everybody's journey is different. So the next question that I have is, I like this one. Is there any such thing, let's say, as an average day? What does your day-to-day role look like? Let's start with Stella.
That's a really interesting question, and I think it's very hard to answer typical day to day. But my day is around developing events, so organising events, sourcing people that is going to be really inspiring at those events. But also, I'm part of the recruitment team, so we support all the assessment centres, and this year is all going to be virtual. So it's quite interesting already. We've started running some assessments. And so I'm seeing people on MS Teams, and we're having conversations and trying to get them a few little group exercises going as well. So it's very varied, but really interesting. And then it's great to see some really inspirational young people, and you can really see the skills and the knowledge that they've got. So that's the bit of the job I really enjoy.
How fantastic. And isn't it wonderful that, you know, every day, you know, when you go to sit down at your desk or whatever you're doing, you're like, it could go this way, it could
That's
go
right.
that. I just love that. You know, that's what gets you up in the morning, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Okay, and Helen, sorry, not Helen, sorry, excuse me. Now we're on to Hayley. What is your average day like, if there's such a thing?
So very similar to Stella, I never have one day that's the same as the next one. So it certainly is interesting and very varied. So because I work in the recruitment team, my role can take me from doing interviews to working with staff on site to make sure that we've got some vacancies out for them so we can get them some new people in. I also run inductions for new joiners, so making sure that they feel welcome and making sure that they're settled into their roles well. I also speak with candidates too, so making sure that they're feeling like the process is going as they'd expect and kind of fielding any queries that they might have. And working at events and fairs, so a bit like Stella, doing lots more virtually now, which is taking a little bit of time to adjust to, but we're certainly getting there, and it's becoming the new norm, definitely. So yeah, I think to summarise, my role involves lots of talking, which I absolutely love, so it's fab.
I totally hear that, Hayley. When I was at school, I did nothing but talk. My name was forever up on the blackboard in a little box in the corner. Yes, I said blackboard. I am that old. And, you know, Fayon Cottrell, as I was known then, will you stop talking? Well, look how it turned out. I now get paid to talk. So on to another talker. Andy, your mic was quite quiet the first time round, so I'm hoping we'll be able to hear you booming now. More volume. Oh, go again. That sounds better.
Yeah, so my day to day, I'm not the type of person who can be chained to a desk. I never have been. I'm quite a bit of a free spirit. And one of the things I love about the work I do and I've done in the past, when I was a teacher, even though I had to go to school every day, I was up and about teaching construction and practical subjects. Before that, obviously, I was on site, so we're here, there, and everywhere. And I worked for myself, so I had no boss. It's been a bit of a change moving from that into the council, which is a big organisation at Bradford, and then again moving into BAM, which is a multinational blue chip company. What's really good about what I do day to day is that I am my own boss, even though I have a line manager. And I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but I'm kind of the master of my own projects. My skill set's quite unique in my business, so I make a lot of content. So I have skills in TV and media. I make short films and things like that for recruitment. I also look at developing strategies and stuff like that for how our coordinators go out into the world and interact with young people and young adults and that type of stuff. So, like I said before, day to day, if I had to write down what my job role was, it probably wouldn't make any sense to anybody because I do so many different things. But I do work in what we call the social value team, and social value in big business means how big businesses work with communities. and how we can enrich not only the lives of the people, but what we always try to leave a place better than what we found it in. And that probably sums up my role, really, is to work with those coordinators in those communities to help those places and deliver projects that upskill people and give people different aspirations to come into our industry and beyond.
Yeah, I love that. And sorry, I was going to say, you really do have to appeal quite widely because everybody's so different. Not everybody's going to be having, you know, that prescribed route and advice. You know, you've got to be able to literally be like an octopus. So thank you, Andy. And we're going on now to, unless Imogen's got anything to add, because Andy really does have quite a varied journey, and I love that so much. So the last piece then of getting to know you questions is what piece of advice have you ever been given in your career? What really nice piece of advice have you ever been given? I'll start with Stella again, please.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I've really had to think about this because at school, you wouldn't believe it, but I was very, very quiet. I used to be the other way. So they used to be saying, Stella needs to talk more in groups and get involved in lessons. So, and it wasn't until really that I went and did my work experience in a nursery and I really came out of my shell because it was like I was communicating with the young people. I built up that rapport, and actually the head teacher at the time said, I'd offer you a job here and now kind of thing, you know. So that was a really big boost to my self-confidence. And when I went back to school and spoke to the teachers about it, they said, you know, pick a career that you're going to be interested in because you're going to be in it for a long time. And that is something that has really rung true, really, with the whole of my careers that I've done, is it to pick something that you are interested in. And also, work experience is so key because you get to find out about what you like, but also what you don't like. Because you may do a work experience and think, actually, I really don't like that. But that's great, because now you know what you don't want, isn't it? You know, so that is something that's really key.
I think that's fantastic advice. I mean, I like talking and I like people. And so I get to do all those things. But a funny story from a friend of mine's husband, who is an acclaimed writer. He writes for theatre, TV, and he's always loved writing since he was young. But when it came for him to do his placement at the age of 14, 15, he wanted to do writing, but he actually got saddled with going to a mechanic's workshop. And he was in this workshop for a week and he hated every moment of being there. But he did it and he came away absolutely confident. I'm definitely going to be a writer. That is not for me, but it was a valuable experience. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, work experience, it just really gives you those skills and that knowledge about, do I really want to go into that area?
Absolutely right. You know, don't go and work as a vet. You have allergies for cats. You know, you've got to find these things out. Okay, and what about Hayley? Same question.
Yeah, so I think the best piece of advice that I got was to give it a go, say yes to opportunities, and just get involved. It might be out of your comfort zone, and you might feel a little bit uneasy about doing some things, but after it, the sense of achievement that you get will be well worth it, and it will certainly help to build your confidence too. So from my experience, I thought I just wanted to do business administration, which is what I did my apprenticeship in. But doing that sort of took me down a path with IT and service desk and helping people. And that kind of paved the way of, actually, I think I want to be working with people more. And, you know, it really opened lots of doors for me, as well as just putting myself out there, getting involved in projects that maybe, you know, involved lots of public speaking, which I wasn't too good at to begin with. And yet here I am sort of 5 years down the line doing presentations soon. So, you know, it really is all about putting yourself out there and building that confidence. The only way that you can do that is to just keep going and push through it. And it is so worth it. So yeah, just say yes to the opportunities that are in front of you.
absolutely sterling advice. And I think all people, well, not all, but a lot of people really fear presentations and standing up in front of people. And when I go to do motivational workshops in schools, I say to young people there, this is the time whilst you're with people who you know to try all this stuff out, because you don't want to be a 35, 45-year-old person who says, I don't want to do this to your boss. They're like, go and do that presentation. And you're like absolutely shaking. You know, you've got to just get in the water. You know, it might feel uncomfortable, but just giving it a go and going against your comfort zone. And as soon as you try it once and you fail at it, that's the time to go, right, I've got something to build on now, and you just keep going. Imogen, do you have anything? I see you nodding. Do you have anything to add on that?
I agree with all of these points. Going and getting work experience and giving it a go, and just sort of widening your horizons and understandings of different careers when you're still at school and before you have to make any big decisions, getting some experience and more clear idea of what actually that job is. Even like say when when an engineer as a child, or not as a kid at school, I had no idea what an engineer actually did. And then I went and did a week's work experience, and it's just like opens your eyes to what that career actually is and day-to-day work.
That's it. We mustn't be afraid not to know what something is. How are you going to know unless you ask, you know? Brilliant. Thanks, Imogen. And Andy, what have you got for us? Best piece of advice you're ever given?
I've taken my AirPods out. Is that any better with sound?
1000%.
Right. Apple. Yeah.
Hey.
So I think just to talk about the best piece of advice, I think when you're at school, I'm really good with long-term memory. I can remember all sorts of stuff. I can't remember where my car keys are, but I can remember things that happened 20 years ago, like I was there yesterday. And I think when you're at school all day long and you're used to adults talking to you and at you because you sat in a class, I think sometimes when other adults talk, it kind of just blends into that white noise of what you're used to. And as a person, I like to find things out for myself, so I'd probably like to learn the hard way more often than what I probably should, which I've mellowed a bit as I've got older. And I think sometimes when people part with a bit of knowledge upon you, if it sticks with you for more than a couple of weeks and you can remember exactly what was said, I think that is the best advice that you've ever been given, and it doesn't matter what the advice is. And one of those times for me, my university lecturer, lovely man called Al Gordon, he was really, really ill, and he was teaching right up to the point that he died. And 2 weeks before he died, he said to me, we were talking about promotions at work, and I were a bit, unsettled teaching where we were teaching. I said, I'm thinking about going to this other school and doing this. And he just said, but why? And I said, what do you mean why? I said, it's because I'm unhappy. He said, but you're moving across and you've been doing this for 5 years. So why would you just do the same job, just in a different environment? He said, do you love it that much? And I said, not really, no. And he said, the best piece of advice I could ever give you is, once you've done something for 5 years, you know it inside and out. Unless you love it and you want to carry on doing it, then that's your choice. He said, but once you've done it for 5 years, you know it. And if you don't push on from that 5 years, then you'll just meander and you'll just stay where you are. You won't grow. You've grown as much as you can within that 5 years. You need to move on to the next thing. And he said, if you ever apply for a job that scares you, much in the same way that we spoke about today at Rolls-Royce, if you ever apply for a job that scares you, then it's time to move on. If you ever an opportunity pops up that makes you second guess yourself and makes you feel nervous, then it's time to move on. Because if it doesn't make you feel nervous or it doesn't make you question your own abilities, then it's not challenging you. So the message is to don't just stick at something because you like it, which is commendable if you want to do that, but always look for the thing that scares you, because if it scares you, it's going to help you grow.
Absolutely brilliant. That's great advice. So many bits of great advice. I was given the same advice when I first got into shopping television. It's like, don't stay in this kind of role for more than 2 years. And so I moved, you know, I did it for about a year or so, gained everything I needed to gain from that company. Then I'd go on to doing something a little bit different for another one. And it really kept things fresh. But I mean, to this day, I still get, and I've been presenting now since 2003, and I've done everything from the shopping TV to the Royal Albert Hall to street festivals or, you know, Zoom or whatever. Every time I still get butterflies. I still get a little knot of something, and I just think, yeah, you're still doing the right thing. Because if I didn't get that kind of, oh gosh, I'm a bit worried and a bit nervous about it, then I must have, you know, I don't care, obviously. It's just, I'm over it. And I think as long as you still have that fight or flight sort of thing going off, it's the best. It's absolutely the best. Ah, brilliant stuff. So I'm just going to say to you, wonderful, lovely people who are watching us today, if anybody came late, welcome. This is the Equal Engineers virtual festival of careers. And it's just great to have such brilliant panelists, and also Imogen here for us as a student ambassador. So let us now move on to some presentations. Although I'm just going to check the chat box just to see if I'm missing out on anything. Okay, nothing for me. Excellent. Okay, so we are now going to start with a presentation from Stella at Rolls-Royce, and she is the campus recruiter. So over to you, Stella.
Thank you, Fayon. Just let me know when you can see my screen. Brilliant. Okay. Well, it's lovely to come and talk to you today. Shame we can't do it face to face, but it's great that you're here. So, careers at Rolls-Royce. So, Rolls-Royce is nothing to do with cars. I just really want to stress that. And the thing is, we still get applications where it does say that they want to work with cars. So, really research the company that you're looking at. So Rolls-Royce, it's all about creating that cleaner, faster and more competitive power. And we're shaping the world we live in and the future. And why do we want apprenticeships? It's because we want those future leaders and experts for the projects that are going to be coming up. So we've got three main areas. So we've got the civil aerospace, we've got the defence, and we've got power systems. And moving forward, we are looking at electrification. That is going to be so key as we move forward in the next few years. You know, it's about how we can use electric and how we can harness that really. Digitalisation, that is going to be the real big thing. So we're looking at virtual reality. We're looking at how we can use that. And also about sustainable energy. So about that cleaner and safer and more competitive power. So in the next 10 years, and hopefully if you become an apprentice at Rolls-Royce, something that you will be looking at is around that sustainable energy. So how can we harness that? So how could you work at Rolls-Royce? So there's a couple of levels that you can come in at. So we've got apprenticeships for school leavers programs, and we've also got, if you decide you want to go and do your A-level or level 3 BTEC course, you could come in at degree level. So the beauty of doing an apprenticeship is that you get paid, you get qualification, and you're getting that experience. So it's just a great opportunity. It's a different pathway if you want to go into college. So it's just a great way of getting that experience. So the post-GCSE route, so this is typically 4 years long, and you've got a starting salary of around £12,000. And it'll be a mixture of classroom study, on-the-job learning, and you'd get that guidance and support as well. So you get an apprenticeship development lead who would support you throughout your whole journey to make sure that you're getting the most out of your programme. And you would also work towards that level 3 apprenticeship standard in engineering. So you're getting good quality training, but you're also getting that qualification as well. The other option is to do it post A-level. So you could go to college, get your A-levels, and then think, actually, I don't want to go to university, but I still want to be getting that qualification. So the thing is that, you know, you could look at doing a post A-level apprenticeship with us, and that's in many different areas. So we've got the digital and technology side, and that's going to be really forward as we move forward, because it's all about that software engineering and cyber security. We've also got the materials labs. So if you like to go into a laboratory and try to see how materials work, and it may be that you want to try and blow things up, that's a great place to be in. The non-destructive testing. So this is where you're taking different materials and you're testing it and stressing it. Because the thing is, if you think about an engine, what that temperature that goes into for all those parts and all those components, that they need to have materials that aren't going to melt. So it's great that you've got the qualifications when you come to Rolls-Royce, but we want to see what else can you bring, because it's that passion and it's that enthusiasm that we need to get across. So it's about when you're doing your application form or when you come to one of our virtual assessment centres, we want to see that passion and enthusiasm coming across. It shows that you've researched about Rolls-Royce. It shows that actually this is something that you really want to do. We also need to see, and you need to demonstrate again in the application and at the assessment centre, team skills. So usually we do a group exercise when we're doing it face to face, but we're still going to do like a group activity, but it's going to be slightly different because it all is all going to be virtually, and it is going to be that you'd be doing a group exercise, but you're all separate. But it's again, we want to see those teamworks and that communication. But also, we want to see what else have you done at school or outside of school. So have you done some voluntary work? Have you done the Duke of Edinburgh scheme? Have you done work experience? Do you, are you a carer? All those things really matter. And those are the things that we need to see coming across in your application. So why join Rolls-Royce? So there's many things there, but the best thing to do is come and talk to us this afternoon, because we've got apprentices from GCSE level and also from degree level that can talk to you about all the benefits of working at Rolls-Royce. So the application process, so it's all online. So you complete your online application, and this is where we want to find out about you. So find out about your extracurricular activities, find out about your interests, and why is it you want to work at Rolls-Royce. So at that stage, we don't look at your application form. So it's really key that you then spend some time before you do your online assessment to practice them. So you'll be given the practice link. So practice, 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 because you get to find out the wording, the formatting, what it is that we're wanting. Once you're ready, you click on the actual link, and that's when you complete your online assessments. And you've got 10 days to do that. And it doesn't take long. It only probably takes, one takes about 6 minutes, one takes about 10 minutes, so it's not long at all. And the thing is that you can break it up. So you don't have to do them all in one go. So you could do one and think, that's enough for today, and I'll do the next one tomorrow. So, but just take your time, find somewhere where you're going to be not distracted, where it's going to be quiet. And also, don't do it on your mobile phone. We have had some try to do it on the mobile phone, and there's just too much information on there. So use a laptop, okay? So you'll then get an email to say, congratulations, you've now passed your online assessment. This is where we then look at your application form. So this is where we then look and see around your passion and what it is that you want to be doing. So when we see that and we say, wow, this is a fantastic application, we then invite you along to our assessment centre. And like I say, this year it is going to be slightly different, but we're all resilient and we're all finding other ways to cope with that. So it is all going to be virtually, but it's going to be on MS Teams. You'd have some interviews with some assessors and also the group exercise as well. So our application dates. So we haven't got it exactly decided when yet, but it's going to be around the end of November. But what I would say is that in this afternoon, there'll be a link that the apprentices will be able to give you where you can join our talent pool, and then we can keep you up to date about future apprenticeship opportunities. So that's it. So look forward to seeing you this afternoon. Like I say, we've got some post-GCSE apprentices there and some degree ones. Thank you.
Brilliant, Stella. Thank you. I think I feel like I might want to apply. It sounds like a brilliant organisation, and the fact that you can literally, it's not just that perception of it's this, it's that.
No.
There's so much there, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. You can, and the thing is, depending on what your passion is, we can then direct you to which we feel will be best for you.
Wow. Imogen, what do you reckon?
So it's great to hear about the apprenticeship opportunities that you have at Rolls-Royce. I presume, so is your application, you apply to all apprenticeships and then you streamline into civil aero or defence or, oh, please remind me of the third one.
Power systems.
Power systems, of course. And do you then go into the application process of just one, or is it you apply to an apprenticeship and then when you talk to the interviewers that they then think that you would best be suited to civil and aero or defence?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the thing is, it's about, you might come along and you really don't know what kind of area you want to be going in. So with the practical apprenticeships is that you'll get an opportunity to have a look at all different kind of areas. And so it's not until you're coming off your apprenticeship scheme that's when you'll then be aligned to one of those areas.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
the general approach. Sorry, it really what I wanted as a kid, as a student.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Stella, for a stellar presentation. See what I did there. So now we move on to Hayley. So Hayley is recruiter over at HMGCC. Hayley, looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. I'm just going to try and share my screen. Okay, can you all see that okay? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to be talking about apprenticeships at HMGCC today. Now, the first question you probably have is, who are HMGCC? So we are Her Majesty's Government Communications Centre. We provide secure communication systems for government to protect national security. So we're based in Milton Keynes and we are growing fast. So we're looking to expand that with some of our apprentices this year. So to tell you a little bit more about what we do, we work through the whole product life cycle from research and design through to testing, implementation, maintenance of systems, and then decommissioning as well. So these systems can be anything to do with hardware, software, and manufacturing those pieces of equipment as well. So we talk around providing diplomatic support, making sure that secure messages can get through. So embassies overseas, making sure that they can communicate back to the UK successfully and safely. We work doing some power source work as well as phone reception. So in some areas of unrest, we might need to make sure that critical messages can be received. So that's a little bit about what we do and then how we do it. So I touched on this a little bit earlier. We have a great facility on site where we do all of our manufacturing ourselves. So we have a PCB area. We've got electronics and testing. We've also got our software teams, hardware teams as well, and of course corporate and support. So we are a big site we get sort of described as a campus feel because we've got lots of different buildings, so plenty of space there and lots of interesting things happening on our site. So a little bit about life at HMGCC. We really do pride ourselves on being a sort of a family and a community on site. So we want to make sure that once people are working with us, particularly our apprentices, that we've got the routes for progression, which we do have. So a lot of our apprentices go on to become permanent members of staff with us. We offer flexible careers as well. So I talked a little bit earlier about my career path with HMGCC. You know, I started off working in the IT department and moved on to HR in recruitment. Now, I'm not too sure of many other places that you could do that, but we're really keen to progress our staff and keep people, but also provide that variation of work as well. We've got a great culture on site. As I said, it is a campus feel and sort of a community feel rather than a place of work. We all work together. Ultimately, we want to achieve the same thing, and that's to keep us safe whilst being here. So anything that we can do to help each other. And a little bit about work-life balance. So you know, we're all coming to work because we need to, you know, we've all got bills to pay, but we want to make sure that people enjoy it, but also that they're able to have that cut-off time as well. So once you leave work, you don't need to take things with you and sort of go home and carry on. That time is for you and your family. So we kind of have that aspect of things as well. So I'll talk a little bit more in detail now about our apprenticeship scheme. So we've been doing this for quite a few years now. And we do have a variety of apprenticeships that we're running. So this year, they're focused around cyber apprenticeships, and we have 3 different ones. So we've got our software development and test, IT support, and engineering, which includes electronics and manufacturing. So they all give you a different level, as well as have different timescales. So it depends on what people are interested in and how that goes. As it was mentioned earlier, you know, apprenticeships are fantastic for getting paid and learning at the same time. It's sort of a bonus to get both. Our starting salaries are quite competitive at around £18,500 per year, and our apprentices split their time between the local college as well as working on site with some of our experts as well. So we do have some entry requirements which are set out by the college for each one of our apprenticeships. So for software development and test, we're looking for A-level in computing or maths, or a relevant level 3 apprenticeship, or a BTEC in national computing. So similar sort of requirements, but just to cover that, you know, any of those would be acceptable. Our IT support, we're looking at GCSEs, depending on when people will have taken their GCSEs. It's either A star to C or a 9 to 4 in English, maths and technology, or IT, as well as it could also be a relevant level 2 apprenticeship that has been completed before. Then our engineering one, so this we require GCSEs at grade A star to C or 9 to 4 again in English, maths and science, or an engineering or product design subject, or the relevant level 2 apprenticeship. So a few entry requirements there. So to tell you a little bit more about what we offer in terms of our apprenticeships and once people are here. So we've got a really comprehensive induction. So what we want is to make sure that people, you know, understand the benefits of what they'll be doing, both, you know, on site as well as the learning at home and at college. So we want to make sure that people feel that sense of purpose and that they are part of HMGCC. So our apprentices work alongside our current members of staff and work on products that are really going to make a difference. As I said, mentor training placements, so that's alongside our experts as well. There's the high quality classroom training, so that's offered at the local college, so they're ones that surround Milton Keynes, so we use both Bedford and Milton Keynes College. We also offer a dedicated mentor and buddy. So we appreciate that this, for a lot of people, is sort of their first introduction into work, and it can seem quite daunting, and there's lots of questions that you think, should I or shouldn't I ask them? But always ask them. There is no such thing as a silly question, and it will always help people to just ask the question, at least then you get the answer and you can kind of understand things a little bit better. I think I mentioned it earlier, but we really do have a long-term career prospect. So most of our apprentices will join us permanently and progress through the levels that we've got. And we've got a fab learning and development team. So they do a lot of the professional development. So even sort of once people have joined us permanently, some of our apprentices, they'll still continue on with some of that development to ensure that they're still doing that same key thing, which is developing and improving ourselves, really. So who are we looking for? You know, we appreciate that people might not have the background of having previous experience. So what we're really looking for here is people that behave with integrity. So we want people to be professional, honest and reliable, and really wanting to make a difference as well. So adding value to the organisation, but as well as improving, you know, your own abilities too. We want people who can work in a team. So a lot of the sort of assessment centre that we do, which is a bit of a team exercise, it's really interesting for us to see how people work with each other. So a lot of the stuff that we do once it becomes sort of real products with us is working together, you know, getting it tested by a different team and just making sure that we're all trying to achieve that end goal all together, and somebody who thinks creatively as well. So because we are a government department, we do have some restrictions on who can apply. So we have to go through a vetting process, which means that people do need to be 17 and a half by the 28th of February to ensure that they can then apply and go through our process. You must be a British citizen, and then one of your parents must be British or hold citizenship with the following, which I won't read through, but I'm happy to answer any questions later if people have anything on that. And they need to have been a resident in the UK for 7 of the last 10 years. So our applications are open at the moment on our website and will be open until the 8th of November. All applications need to be done online, and as I say, they are open now, so you can have a little read through about what to expect, and there's a little bit more information on our website too. Our recruitment process is very similar to what's been mentioned earlier, so it's some online assessment and then some group exercises, which for the first time this year will be done via video, so that's going to be a little bit different, but we're making some changes to enable that to happen. And you know, we do have the vetting process that follows that as well, so I'm happy to answer any questions later if anyone has anything. So yeah, really apprenticeships are a fantastic way of getting into the workplace with the experience of learning still as well as on the job, and you get paid, so it's an absolute bonus. But yeah, have a think about if you'd be interested in the HMGCC apprenticeship, and if you are, we're back from 12:30 on the chat session, so I'll answer any questions then. Thank you.
Brilliant, Hayley. Another organisation just offering so much versatility, variety, and that opportunity to, you know, just go wherever that you want to go. So absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay, so now it's time for Andy from BAM Nuttall. So you don't have a presentation as such, but you have a talk for us, don't you?
Yeah, I'm just conscious that I knew everybody would be doing a presentation, and I were really keen that if you're interested in seeing my presentation, that come to the workshop this afternoon. I think what I wanted to take this opportunity this morning is to just have a chat and talk to you a little bit about what my experience has been, and kind of promote the industry of construction as much as just the business. So I'm probably going to talk in a wider sense this morning, and then get a little bit more specific with BAM Nuttall and BAM this afternoon. It is worth mentioning that our apprenticeship windows are open now, and I am going to be going into this afternoon what that looks like. But I think you probably need to know a little bit more about BAM before we get going, and then I can just have a little chat to you about a few different things, because I am conscious that it's not that long ago since I were in a classroom teaching, and I do understand what it's like being a student. A lot of the students I've taught don't tend to come from the leafy suburbs where people are throwing A stars and 9s around like confetti. So I am kind of travelled from a different, going to a different destination. So BAM Nuttall and BAM, we're a multinational company, so we work all over the world, and we're owned by the BAM Royal Group. And I think I'm led to believe that the Dutch royal family have some kind of stake in our business. So we're a multi-million pound, billion, I think we turn over something like a couple of £1 billion a year, which is more money than I'm ever going to see in my lifetime. But we have over 22,000 employees worldwide. So we really are a global player in terms of engineering and design and construction and digital design, quantity surveying and all those different types of things. But I think if you think about getting into engineering and construction in general, when I were a lad back in the day, my family had a building firm, and my granddad were a builder, and his twin brother, my uncle Fred, was a joiner. And for me, builders were bricklayers and joiners and plumbers and stuff like that. And that's true, they are. And I used to hate the word builder as well when I used to teach, and kids used to go, I want to be a builder. It's like, there's no such word as builder. Builder is like an all-encompassing word that doesn't exist. So specifically, there are different job roles. And if you look at a sector like engineering and construction, and it kind of all goes hand in hand, especially with STEM as being an underlying thread throughout. And there are so many routes in, and there are so many jobs. And I had a discussion yesterday with a colleague, and it's really important for you guys to realise and understand that aspirations are absolutely incredible to have, but also having realistic aspirations. And also, furthermore, on top of that, is understanding that just because you're young now, if you can't get into the role you want to get into right now, that doesn't mean to say you can't get into the role eventually. And that's a little bit what I wanted to talk about today. So going back to school, my name at school for a long time was Dory Get Out. And I spent a lot of my time on the corridors because I thought acting around and being daft at school was probably more fun than actually learning, which in hindsight, I should have been a lot more selfish about my education. But because of that, I became a lot more determined in my older years. So when I, post kind of 21 of my apprenticeship, to really make something of myself, because I realised that I'd let myself down. But because I had a really good understanding and quite a worldly approach to stuff, and quite a liberal and level-headed person, I realised that I had the skills. And I think that's a really, really important thing to remember when you're young. You don't understand what skills are, but you actually have tons of them already. And I always used to say to students when I used to teach, we used to do reflection on personal skills. If you're one of those people who, because we all have busy lives, and as mums and dads, it's not a conventional family anymore where mum stays at home and dad goes to work, everybody works, everybody's busy. And you might be one of those kids that looks after a brother or sister, or picks someone up from school, or has to make tea or dinner if you're from the south. Then you've got tons of skills involved in that, because you're actually being trusted with another human being's life. The skills that are involved in those different types of things are immense, and actually they set you up for life. And one of the things I think young people aren't great at doing nowadays, because of how generations have moved on, is being reflective, and also trying to look at how those skills can reflect to the real world. So if you play in a team, for instance, or you play Call of Duty Warzone, it's mine and my son's favourite thing at the minute is to play Call of Duty Warzone. The skills that are involved in games like that are resilience. Resilience is a massive skill in work, massive. If you don't have resilience, you're not going to get ahead in life, never mind work. And I always like to come back to things like Call of Duty and stuff like that, because when you ever get on a game like that, you will die within seconds, because you're not very good at it. But you practice and you practice and you practice. Like now, my son's like a genius on it. He's like Mozart on it. He can spot sniper kills from miles away. And I'm like, how the hell have you seen that? Because he's put the time in. Now, if you translate those skills to the world of work and your career journey, if you're one of those kids now, so I'll be straight up with you, you need to be quite brainy to get into engineering. If you want to be an engineer, it doesn't matter if it's aerospace, if it's civil engineering, digital, you've got to be academically pretty good to get the entrance requirements for college, and that's life. but you might not be there, and you might not be there yet. And that's where resilience comes in. And one of the things I always encourage anybody to do, it doesn't matter if you're young, if you're 50, if you're 60, it doesn't matter. Have a goal in mind. So if you want to be a civil engineer, and we can go into civil engineering this afternoon, but if you want to be a civil engineer, map back what you need to do. Never mind time, what do you need to do? What are the stepping stones from where I am in this position now to get into where I want to be? And if you're one of those young people who needs the GCSEs at grade C or grade 5 and above, and you are one of those young people who needs the A-levels to get either into university or work or level 3, and you're not quite hitting those grades, what you need to do is not bank all of your hopes and dreams on results day, especially now in a post-COVID world where everything's upside down and we're all doing virtual learning and everything's a little bit nuts at the minute. What you need to do is have a really, really solid life plan with not only plan A, but plan B, C, and D. Because if you fail plan A, you can't drop off the end of a cliff and cry into a pillow, and because the world doesn't care. The world does not care about you because you're not important enough. You've not contributed anything yet. So you need to have that resilience to be able to push forward and push beyond. So one of the things that we're doing at BAM Nuttall now, and it's part of my job, is we're building what we call academic scaffolding. And this relates to anybody in any kind of line of work. If you need maths and English to work for us, you need to have maths and English at least grade 5, for instance, and you're not getting there yet. What you need to be doing is when you finish your GCSEs and look into the next bit, so when you go to college, is you need to be resitting your exams. You need to be doing extra tuition. You guys at your age now have the world at your fingertips. Dr. Google can sort out everything apart from medical issues, so don't Google medical issues, you'll go down a rabbit hole. But any type of knowledge you need, it's at your fingertips. Everybody on this call now will have had to go to a library at some point, will have had to find information the good old-fashioned way in a book, and that takes time. But you guys don't have that. You guys have the luxury of being able to dive on a computer and find things out. So if you've got an area of your studies that you're lacking in, you need to use that resilience and use your brain, because one of the brilliant things my son is ace at doing, he can get on Snapchat and he can get on TikTok and he can do all these cool things and all these apps. You ask him to go on Google and research anything and he's clueless. Ask him to go on Word and write a letter of application and he's clueless. And those are the skills that you guys need to have. And I know a few other people have mentioned that. So have a goal in mind. Scaffold yourself. If you can't hit plan A, what is your plan B? What is your plan C? How can you get there? Have a timeline. If you say, right, I'm 18 now and by age 30 I want to be here. So you need to map out what that looks like. And it's helpful to write it down. The most successful people plan. The most successful people are planned. So my talk to you guys this morning was more kind of from the heart, and none of this is written down. It is a message from me to you guys to think about being resilient, to think about having a career plan, to think about if you're not where you need to be right now, how can you get to be there eventually? So if anybody's got any questions on the back of that, or you think of something that you want to ask me this afternoon, I'd love to have a chat with you. I'm a real people person, as Fion's found out over the last few conversations that we have. I'm a bit of a character and a personality. I think I must, if things like ADHD had been back in the day, I would have probably had that. I feel like I'm ready to bounce off this chair because I've been sat still for so long. So I love to have a chat with people, and I love to get stuck in with people who've got questions. And if anybody has got anything right now or later, I'd love to hear from you.
Excellent, Andy. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm inspired by all of you speakers. I really am. But Andy, just, from the barrel, from the heart, is really what makes that difference. And I made a note of the word resilience. And, even at my young age, I still have to be so resilient because, like you say, the world is, it's welcoming. But you've got to be the one. You've got to be your own cheerleader out there. Give me an F, give me an A, give me a Y, give me an O, give me an N. You've got to be your own cheerleader. And I also wrote down, what do I need to do? And it's true, if it's not happening for you right now, it's okay. But where do you want to be? And then work backwards. And if you know you need to put this down a little bit, Yeah, get off the old TikTok every now and again and just focus on you. Rather than watching other people who are making a success of their lives, what are you going to be successful at? What are you going to do? Thank you, Andy. Thank you. So, with that in mind, I just want to throw this open for discussion and get him Imogen in there. Everybody, unmute your mics. Go for it. Unmute. So let's open up this discussion. But I just wanted to carry on with the skills that you were talking about there, Andy, and ask our other speakers and also Imogen, because of course we are in an unprecedented time of COVID-19. Tier 1, 2, 3, the restrictions like nothing we've ever seen in our life, but we still are functioning. We still have things to do. So what would you say, panel, are the skills that you feel our young people need to kind of brush up on in this time of lockdown and sort of COVID? So what do you reckon?
So I'm happy to kick off.
Yeah.
I think soft skills are really, really important, and I think people focus a lot around grades and, you know, what you achieve there, but actually it's relationship building and communication, which is really, really important. You know, when you work in a team or you're working on a project, there's going to be lots of either smaller teams or different people that you'll need to liaise with, and you know, if something goes wrong and you might be a little bit delayed on the timescale that you'll deliver that to them, it's about having that conversation with them, being able to communicate in the right way and actually saying, I'm going to manage your expectations, that I might not meet it, but here's why and here's what I'll do to resolve that. And I think it's really important to get that communication side of things, you know, going well.
Absolutely right, Hayley. Communication's everything. If you're not sharing, you know, what's on your mind or what needs to be done, then people just assume that you're not either interested or you don't know what you're doing. And sometimes you only get one opportunity to make a first impression. So, you know, you've got to make sure that you do speak, learn to speak to people. What else do you think, Stella?
Yeah, so I mean, I totally agree with what Hayley's just said, and also teamwork. That is so key, because the thing is that you'll probably be working with different people who's got different ideas, who's probably got different skill sets, and you've got to be able to work together so that you can actually develop the project or, you know, finalize it really. So teamwork, communication, they're just so key, and it is all those soft skills that, you know, you don't get from a book. It is about actually going out there and doing things so that you can actually develop those.
I was just going to ask Imogen actually, because out of all of us, you have only left school just recently, and you know, when I go into schools, I do try and separate people and put them with people that they don't usually sit with or they don't know, and you know, the faces of, oh no, I don't want to be separated. I'm like, I'm cutting the cord. You know, how valuable do you think that is?
So valuable. I think putting yourself out there in a situation that you're not super comfortable with, like pushing your boundaries and sort of pushing yourself to learn more. And I think you also learn more about yourself in situations like that. The answer that I was thinking of to the question about what skills you find most valuable, I would say just the willingness to learn. Like, you're never going to stop learning throughout your entire career. Like, I got this image, and I was like, hopefully one day I might become a chartered engineer, and I know, and that might happen when I'm 30. I'm 21 at the moment, and I'm going to have to continue learning up until that. And then there's going to be so many more experienced people around me in a career in hopefully civil engineering. And you've got to learn from the people around you, and you've got to take their experiences and just use that as a resource as well in your life. I just continue learning.
Brilliant, thank you. Andy, did you want to embellish?
Yeah, if just speaking to everybody who's watching this, if you're 16, 17, 18, however old you are, if you think about what you've done in your life at the minute, you've spent, however old you are, that amount of time being told what to do. You've been told when to go to bed, what time to come in, what time you've got to come to your lessons. And I think as well, when you're at school, because, you know, let's be real, you're at school to pass an exam. That's what schools are now. They're an exam machine. And that element of failure, if I fail my exam, I can't do this. And what I found is that kind of fear of failure becomes ingrained in you as young people. And actually, you've got to fail, man. You've got to cock it up 150,000 times before you get it right. And if you don't, how can you ever grow? If you always play it safe, how can you ever grow? So in this time of change, back in the olden days when you were allowed to go and do what you want, where you wanted, without wearing face masks and stuff, I think until a vaccine comes around, which could be forever, I don't know, this world that we're in now is the world. And if you're not adaptable, you know, let's be right, not everybody, sorry, my dog is just pacing up and down. Not everybody is adaptable, and some people who are watching this aren't going to get where they need to be and are going to live a tough life, because being adaptable is a mindset. So that is probably the biggest skill. And the reason I say that is if you ended up coming to work for us, you won't go to college for the amount of time that you used to. We used to do 13-week blocks up in Leeds, and you'd live in the halls like a student, you know, living the life of Riley. It was brilliant. What you'll do now is you come for 3 weeks, you self-isolate in a bubble in a hotel, and the rest to do your practical work, and the rest of your time you're going to be doing virtual learning, which is something that we've never done before as a business. The Leeds College of Building, who deliver all our apprenticeships, have certainly never done before. But that's the way of work. I work at home. A lot of our engineers now and QSs have realised that they can do the jobs by working at home. And by working at home, you've got to have a completely different skill set. And some people just can't manage. If you're sat in your living room with your laptop on your knee and your Xbox is looking at you going, oh, let's have a go Call of Duty or FIFA or something like that, but you've got a mountain of work, you know, you've got to have that discipline, so you've got to be adaptable. And I'm quite, even though I'm a realist and I'm quite sympathetic to young people, especially nowadays, that I do like giving out a bit of tough love every now and again, and you do have to grow up. You know, life isn't sunshine and lollipops like you've been led to believe all your life at school and by your mums and dads and stuff. You know, life is tough, so you've got to, pardon my French, but you've got to grow a pair and you've got to adapt and roll with the punches. And if you can do that, and you can do that at your age, then, you know, God, when you get older, you're going to be able to name your price.
Yeah, really fantastic. Thank you. You know, I have 2 teenage stepdaughters, 18 and 16, and both of them went through the situation, of course, this year where they could not do their exams. And the eldest one has been planning her A levels since she was 8. All she's ever wanted to do was get to her A levels and get to university. And I'm proud to say she's gone to York University. But when the whole lockdown happened, she was thrown into a spiral because she's very used to structure. And now structure had gone. And we literally had to coach her through until she felt really comfortable. The youngest one, 16, completely different. She'll tell you this herself, never really worked hard at school, didn't enjoy school, wondered why she was doing there, always thought she'd do better out of school, and just wanted to get into the world and fly. And as soon as lockdown happened, she was like, this is what I've been waiting for. It was her time to shine. She was off schedule. She was creating her own journey. And even though she didn't do as well as she should have done, because she's got the brains in her exams, she still got what she needed to be able to go to the Brit School and study art, which is what she wants to do. And she's now, oh, sorry, I'm busy, I'm doing homework. We're like, steadying ourselves, you know. Oh, no, I've got to go and do this. She's got her schedule, she's got herself a little job to accompany what she's doing, and she's flying. So there's every different type of person, but resilience, I'm still, that word is really with me today. So I hope you're all just really enjoying this as much as I am, because you can be inspired at any age, and I am totally inspired. So we're coming towards the end of our session, but we've spoken a lot, I suppose, about the advice that is out there, and you guys have got the opportunity to join the panels, the booths, the employer booths that we're having later. But I suppose I just wanted to end on, what advice would you give any young person watching this today who wants to enter the world of STEM? So is there anything we've not said already that you can impart? And we'll go back to the order of Stella, Hayley and Andy, please. And then if Imogen wants to chip in anything at the end, please do.
Thank you, Faye. Well, I think it's been really inspiring this morning, and I'm hoping that all the people that are watching it, I've got something out of it. But what I would say is about that to really do your research. So research the companies that you're interested in, research about STEM, and also about take any opportunity available. So if you're talking to someone and say, oh, there's an opportunity to work on this project, or to do like a STEM club at school, you know, it's all those things. It's about taking those opportunities because you don't know where they may lead you. And that's how you can then find out about your interest and your passion as well.
Brilliant advice. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stella. And Hayley?
Yeah, so I think I completely agree with that. And that, you know, STEM in particular, there are so many opportunities and career paths that will come from these sorts of subjects. You know, everything is going into that sort of engineering space with one way or another. And, you know, there are some people out there that don't really know what they want to do. They're kind of thinking, oh, do I do an apprenticeship? Do I do university? You know, there are so many options out there. But actually, sometimes it is kind of going down a path, and I think it was mentioned earlier, seeing if it's right for you and discovering whether that is right for you, what things you like about it, what things that you don't. And the great thing with an apprenticeship is that you're getting paid and you're learning at the same time, and you'll really get a lot more out of it in terms of both on the job experience, as well as still continue on with that learning and getting qualifications as well. So yeah, again, just take any opportunities that you can. And if anyone does have any questions about HMGCC or apprenticeships, do come and chat to us a bit later on.
Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you so much, Hayley. And Andy?
I'd probably say get selfish really quick. Get really selfish about your education, get really selfish about where you want to be, and get really single-minded about what you want to do. Because if you look to your left and your right and you're surrounded by your mates, there's a good chance that when you get older, those mates won't be there anymore because life moves on. So if you're one of those people that throws their lot in with whatever their mates are doing, like I did at school, and ended up picking all the wrong choices, you're not going to be where you need to be. So your education is yours, not anybody else's. Your career path and your career journey is yours, not anybody else's. Get selfish and get single-minded as of right this second.
And can I just add something that I learned later on in life, so late, but it's fine, is what other people think of you is none of your business. So you just go on and follow your own path, really. They are on their own as well. And Imogen, anything to add?
I'd say STEM is such a great collection of careers that you're not going to shut off any doors for yourself further down the line, and you can always go and find a different job and go and join a different area of industry and change what you're doing and completely switch up because you have that experience, and it's so transferable that you will be able to still learn, because your brain with STEM subjects is so you've learned so many skills that will be able to help you in different careers, that it's brilliant to go into STEM subjects.
It really is true, Imogen. Thank you. And I really believe that if you have a passion in life, look at STEM. Whatever your passion is, there is an avenue in STEM. If this was 40 years earlier, then I would be looking to go into engineering, and I would be designing shoes, because shoes are my passion. And I know that, you know, whether you are, you know, you like acting, whether you like, you know, tinkering with things, whether you like drawing, whether, you know, you like clothes, makeup, whatever it is, there is a field, there is a path for you in STEM. So it's just, you know, I really am glad that we were able to share with you these wonderful conversations. And I just want to thank our wonderful sponsors for giving up their time today to come and share their knowledge and experience and speaking from the heart. You've really touched my heart, and I just think I'm just so grateful for you. So thank you very much to Stella. Thank you very much,
Thank
Hayley.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. And thank you, Andy.
Just bump it up.
And thank you, Imogen, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just been fantastic. So whatever your, whatever your route, whatever your passion, whichever way you decide to go, do not forget to call in, first of all, at our employers' booths this afternoon. And if you have a look at our website, Equal Engineers website, the schedule, the joining list, everything is there. And I just want to say thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure to be the host. I've learned loads today, so I hope you have done too. So from me, the panels, Equal Engineers, bye.
Thank you. Bye.